Hello, everyone. This is the CircuitPython weekly meeting for Monday, January 26th, 2026. It's a time of the year where it's time of the week, wow, where we get together to talk about all things CircuitPython. I'm Liz, and I'm sponsored by Adafruit to work on CircuitPython. CircuitPython is a version of Python designed to run on tiny computers called microcontrollers. CircuitPython development is primarily sponsored by Adafruit, so if you want to support Adafruit and CircuitPython, consider purchasing Adafruit. Wow. Consider purchasing hardware from Adafruit.com. The snowstorm, I guess, has affected my reading today. The meeting is hosted on the Adafruit Discord server. You can join anytime by going to adafruit.it/discord. We hold the meeting in the CircuitPython dev text channel and the CircuitPython voice channel. This meeting typically happens on Mondays at 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, except when it coincides with a U.S. holiday. In the notes doc, there's a link to a calendar you can view online or add to your favorite calendar app. We also send notifications about upcoming meetings via Discord. If you would like to receive these notifications, ask us to add you to the CircuitPythonistas Discord role. There is a shared notes document that accompanies the meeting and recording. You can contribute to this document beforehand. File notes document includes timestamps to go along with the video, so you can use the doc to skip around and view parts of the video that interest you most. The meeting tends to run 30 to 60 minutes. After each meeting, we post a link to the next meeting's notes document in the CircuitPython dev channel on the Adafruit Discord. Check pinned messages, find the latest notes doc, so you can add your notes for the following meeting. If you wish to participate but cannot attend, you can leave hug reports and status updates in the document for us to read during the meeting. And this meeting is held in 5 parts. First part is community news. Second part, state of CircuitPython libraries and Blinka. Third part is hug reports. Fourth part is status updates. And the fifth and final part is in the weeds. And that covers how the meeting will go. And with that, we'll get started with community news. So first up, the hashtag CircuitPython 2026 wrap up. Thanks to all for the thoughts on how to make CircuitPython better in 2026. You can check them all out in Adafruit blog post. Then making a quiz program for CircuitPython and Circuit Playground questions. Professor Gallagher from Boston College teaches several courses and has a popular YouTube CircuitPython School series of videos. The most recent innovation is a quiz producing program. It's been featured on the Adafruit blog and also on his own site. And then Project of the Week, PyBasic ported to the HP Prime calculator. YouTube user Calculator Click has ported PyBasic to the HP Prime MicroPython environment. That's available on YouTube and GitHub and was found via Hackaday. Alright, these news items and more are available in our wonderful weekly Python for Microcontrollers newsletter, which goes out via email on Monday mornings. Visit adafruitdaily.com to subscribe to the newsletter. Thanks to Anne for putting the newsletter together. If you have any Python on hardware projects to share or find content you'd like to see included, please consider contributing to the newsletter. Email cpnews@adafruit.com with a link to the content. And that's it for community news. Next up is the state of CircuitPython, libraries, and Blinka. Now, this is a quantitative overview of the entire project, gives us a chance to look at the health of the project separate from our status updates. We'll talk about the project overall and then separately discuss the core, libraries, and Blinka. So first up, overall, 3 pull requests were merged by 2 authors, FastEddie516 and FoamyGuy, and there were 2 reviewers, FoamyGuy and Tektric. There were 8 closed issues by 3 people and 5 opened by 5 people. And now we will hear from Scott about the core.
Hello, thank you, Liz. So in the past week, we had 0 pull requests merged to the core, so no authors, no reviewers. We have 24 open pull requests, so we're a little closer to our goal of being under 25. There's a lot of backlog here that we could take a look at as well to get that number down. We had 4 closed issues by 2 people and 2 open by 2 people, so we are down a couple, which is great for 849 open issues. The vast majority of those get bucketed into long-term. 671 of them are in there. And those are basically issues that we want to keep open in case we get new insight or somebody wants to work on them, but they are not a high priority for us Adafruit funded folks. The things that are a higher priority for us are the 7 open issues on 10.1. There are also 13 open issues on 10.0x. I suspect Dan's going to take a look at those shortly. And then we also have 2 issues not assigned to milestones, so we got to take a look at those and make sure that we're triaging everything that comes in. But overall, not a lot last week. I know Dan and I are working on bigger things, so hopefully in the next week we'll see some more activity.
Great, thank you. And now we'll hear from Tim about the libraries.
Right, thanks, Liz. This section covers all of the CircuitPython libraries. They are all hosted on GitHub, and they are split into 2 different bundles. There is an Adafruit library bundle, which has 380 libraries in it currently, and a community library bundle with libraries contributed by third parties and members of the community. That one has 172 libraries in it. And we have a total right now then of 552 libraries that support CircuitPython devices. Excuse me, we had 3 pull requests merged over the last week. It says 2 authors. I actually added an author just now. So the names that were newer or less frequent that didn't stick out to my eye as being in these lists week to week were Fast Eddie 516 as well as Aggie Nick 02. I added that one, which is why the count is off. Aggie Nick submitted a PR that got merged this week as well, sort of. It had to get moved to a new branch in order to make some updates and resolve conflicts and stuff. But I wanted to make sure to mention them as well because I appreciate both them. Fast Eddie 516 and Aggie Nick both did PRs that got merged this week in WizNet. There were 2 reviewers, myself and Tektrick. Thanks also, hug report goes out to Tektrick for doing some reviews this week in Library Land. Very much appreciated. The merged pull requests were the 2 WizNet ones were on the older side, although, again, it's listed at 1 day here because it was actually pulled into a new branch, but it was essentially, I want to say, around the 6-month mark or something like that. The other one was 306 days, so those were the older ones, and then we had the newest one down at actually 12 days this week if we don't count the 1 day for the moved branch. That leaves us right now with 36 pull requests open. The oldest one of those is a draft that is out there at 1,257 days. The newest one is 1 day old. Issues-wise, we had 4 issues closed by 2 people, 3 new issues opened up by 3 people. And that leaves us right now with 770 issues that are open across all of the Adafruit bundle libraries. And there is 1 currently that's labeled as a good first issue. You can find all of them listed at circuitpython.org/contributing, which is the website where you should head if you are interested in getting involved in the CircuitPython project. If you are brand new and don't necessarily know what you want to do, you just know you want to get involved, one of the first places we tend to point folks who are in that situation is reviewing PRs, which is conveniently the first thing you see when you load up that page. Again, circuitpython.org/contributing. You'll see a list of PRs, links over to GitHub. If you find something in that list and click through to GitHub, you can read up on what this proposed change is that someone has submitted, and we are always open to members of the community leaving reviews there. So you can take a look at the code. If you have hardware for it, go ahead and test it on hardware. You can review the code for spelling, syntax, logic, anything like that. And then leave a comment on GitHub letting us know what you found, if you think it's good, if you think there's some parts that should be changed. If you had the opportunity to test it on hardware, let us know how that went and what hardware you tested on, what version of CircuitPython and everything like that. If you get comfortable with that process, would like to get leveled up to leave official reviews on GitHub and continue doing library reviews for us, we can work with you to make that happen. If you would like to start contributing some of your own code, you can also do that from the same page. Again, circuitpython.org/contributing. If you click over to the issues link in the navigation, you see a similar looking list of links that go out to GitHub, but these ones don't have any proposed changes yet. They're ideas. It's either like a bug or a new feature request or some new functionality or a new example or something like that. But the actual change hasn't been made yet. It's waiting for a person to come along who's interested and willing to work on that change. And that could be you, again, if you want to get involved. So you could find an issue that speaks to you, so to say, something that you're interested in or you have the hardware for. Click through to GitHub, read about what the issue is, whether it is fixing a bug or for a new feature or what have you. And then you can submit a PR there on GitHub with a proposed fix. We do have a Learn guide for contributing to CircuitPython using Git and GitHub. We also have folks who are more than happy to help you out here on Discord. So if you are having trouble contributing, either submitting your own PR or doing reviews or anything like that, just come say hi on Discord. Let us know what you're up to, what kind of trouble you're having. There will be somebody there who is happy to help you out. In terms of library updates, last 7 days, there are a couple listed here for the Adafruit bundle, bitmap font, USB host MIDI, and WizNet. And that's what we have for libraries this week. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And now I will read about Blinka. There were no new pull requests merged, but there are currently 18 open pull requests. There were no issues closed or new issues opened, but there are currently 145 open issues, and the number of supported boards is at 166. And that is for the state of CircuitPython libraries in Blinka. Next up is Hug Reports. Hug Reports is a chance to highlight folks in the CircuitPython community and beyond for doing awesome things. I will start, and then we'll go down the list of Hug Reports alphabetically. If you are text only or are missing the meeting, I will read your notes when I get to them in the list. So to kick things off, Hug Reports to Scott for adding support for the Yodo players to the core. He has a draft PR for that and a group hug. And now we'll hear from Dan. Oh, Dan, if you're speaking, I'm not hearing any audio come through. Okay, no worries. So Dan has Hug Report for Scott for working on built-in support for pin expanders for GPIO. This has a number of uses. Yes, and now we'll hear from Foamy Guy.
All right, I have a Hug Report this week. Thanks goes out to the IO devs, Tyeth, Justin, and Lauren, all of whom helped answer a question I had and gave me some extra ideas when I was asking about random choice functionality for Adafruit IO. And that's what I have. Thanks.
Sweet. Now we'll hear from Scott.
Hello. First, final hug to everybody who wrote up for CircuitPython 2026. It's always nice to ground myself in what other people are doing in CircuitPython and why they think it's cool, so I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to getting a ton done this year. Liz, thank you as well for collaborating on the Yodo hacking. It was really nice working with you on that, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work on it as well.
Yeah, it was great working with you too. Thank you. And that will do it for Hug Reports. Next up is Status Updates. Status Updates is our time to tell folks what we're up to individually. I will start, and we'll go through a list of updates alphabetically. When I call on you, take a couple minutes to tell me about what you've been working on since last meeting and what you'll be doing until the next meeting. If the discussion becomes too long for status updates, we can move it to In the Weeds. So this week, I'm working on documenting a bass synth stompbox project. It's a MIDI output keyboard running CircuitPython in a foot pedal form factor so that you can hit different notes while you're playing another instrument, like if you want to have a drone in the background or if you were controlling maybe a synth arpeggiator while you're playing live. And this type of project is pretty popular and often uses the very expensive, we're talking like $500, $600, old organ foot pedals from like the 70s and 80s. So this one is using just regular foot switches, which a lot of people have started to use as it's harder to find those. So I think it'll be a nice resource for folks to reference, especially using CircuitPython with MIDI. And then after that, as we've been talking about a little bit in this meeting, I'll be writing up the work that Scott and I did on the Yodo players in a guide, kind of taking a perspective of how you can keep IoT devices going, but also maybe talking a little bit about how we reverse engineered and figured out how things were working on the player so that we could get CircuitPython running. And that's what I'll be working on. And now we will hear from Dan. Let me know.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
So I've been working on Wi-Fi airlift for quite some time now. All the functionality that I want to implement is now implemented. That's TCP socket, so HTTP and HTTPS fetching, UDP in both directions, and HTTP serving. HTTP serving seems a little problematic because while polling for an incoming connection, after a while, the airlift chip stops communicating. It's not really clear whether this is a problem on my side or on the airlift side, but it's not important enough to spend too much time on that right now. So what I plan to do is make a draft PR of these changes so they can be tested. So the main point of this is that you can use import Wi-Fi, socket pool, and SSL on boards that have an airlift chip connected, like the PyPortal or something like that. So it'll be interesting for people to test. After that, I'm going to take a break from that for a while, and I'm going to work on some other things, probably merging some versions of MicroPython, doing some bug fixes so we can get a 10.10 release out, and then maybe also ESP32P4 Wi-Fi support. We don't have an Adafruit ESP32P4 board, but we have some dev boards that we're doing, and it would be nice to get Wi-Fi working on those, and it would inform further use of Wi-Fi on any such board. Okay, that's it.
Great, thank you. And now we'll hear from Foamy Guy.
All right, I worked on a MagTag HiQ viewer project that is going to be a Learn guide that is submitted now, so that'll pop up soon on the Learn system. I have continued doing library PRs for the last week. The main ones that I was looking into are in the WizNet 5K, the Ethernet library, so I did lots of testing with that this week. And then the next thing that I'm working on is setting up this Claude bot application that has started to go trending and such on lots of different platforms. Lots of people are setting it up on a desktop like a Mac Mini or something, and I am working towards installing it on a Pi 5 and gauging how it works, and then trying to hook it up to some sensors and other sort of external tidbits and see what kind of fun we can have with it. And that's what I'm up to.
Great, thank you. Haiku Guide came out really nice. And now we'll hear from Scott.
Hello. I've got a PR out in draft for the native IO expander support, which is also the Yoda Mini and Yoda Player v3 board definitions. I'm currently getting the CI working because, like many of the changes I do, I get it working for the things I'm working on, but there's other consequences on other boards. I think the main hurdle is going to be that there are some SAMD boards that look to be filled up, which is not going to be easy to fix. But I think that's because I've changed the way that digital in-out works, which I might have to put behind a flag, but we'll see. So I'll take a look at that this week. And then what I'm doing kind of primarily while I poke the CI for the PR is working on Zephyr. I did some research at the end of last week, and I discovered that Zephyr has a native simulator, which would allow us to kind of run CircuitPython in its truest form, but still do it locally on like your own computer if you're running Linux. It's Linux specific, but that's what I'm doing. This is something that Nordic has worked on in Zephyrland, and they've actually added the ability to do to fake Bluetooth BLE locally as well. So I'm working on BLE.io support for the Zephyr port, and I want to do it by just adding tests that are able to test that sort of stuff. So that is going to be a huge benefit for using LLMs to implement stuff, but also us to make sure that things work continuously. So I'm looking forward to that and really excited about the potential of the native sim for Zephyr.
Very cool, thank you. And that is status updates. We don't have any in the weeds topics today, so I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. This has been the CircuitPython Weekly for Monday, January 26th, 2026. Thank you to everyone who participated. If you want to support Adafruit and CircuitPython, and those of us that work on CircuitPython, consider purchasing from the Adafruit shop at adafruit.com. The video of this meeting will be released on YouTube at youtube.com/Adafruit, and the podcast will be available on major podcast services. It'll also be featured in the Python for Microcontrollers newsletter. Visit adafruitdaily.com to subscribe. Next meeting will be held next Monday, as usual, at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. This meeting is held on the Adafruit Discord, which you can join by going to adafruit.it/discord. To be notified about the meeting and any changes to the time or day, you can ask to be added to the CircuitPython Nisa's role on Discord. We hope to see you all next week. Thanks, everyone.